Enlightenment of Man, 2001: A Space Odyssey. Also spake Zarathustra. Is it the enlightenment of a new age, or is it maybe something else? Are you a sheep? I hope that you're not, because I don't think we should be sheep. I don't think that we should buy into what somebody's brainwashing us to think. Do you? But I'm afraid right now in my country, you know what? I told you I wasn't going to do any more videos on this Zimmerman thing, and I'm not going to talk about the trial itself. Let me turn my scanner off. The reason I have my scanner on is just to follow all the rioting and looting and mayhem going on. Okay. I'm very angry tonight, and so I have to make a video. And you're going to say to me, hey, Mikey Kung Pao, you're such a laid-back guy. How come you're so angry tonight? Well, I'll tell you. There are some people in my country who I would describe as fraudsters and scamsters and con artists. Mainly what I would call them is race hucksters. And what these people are trying to do is tear everyone apart, make everyone hate each other. They're setting back race relations 50 years, and they're all doing it built on a lie and a scam. So, I know you want a little elaboration on what the heck I'm talking about. And by the way, I wrapped my head in 3 layers of duct tape before starting this video so it won't explode. Also, I have my nice glass of vino here so I can stay relaxed and not start screaming and ranting at you. Alright. Alright. So, what are we talking about? First of all, who are all these scamsters and fraudsters and race hucksters I'm talking about, and why are they doing these terrible things? I'll tell you why. It's very simple. It's always very simple. It's all about the Benjamins, okay? The Benny Franklins, the Benjamins. What the heck are you talking about, you say to me? The stuff in the news is about the Benjamins? Absolutely. And I'm going to prove it to you and tell you why. Alright? And by the way, before I start, Amanda and all you other nice people that disagree with me, I'm glad that you're watching, okay? I'm just here to try to educate you, not to rail on you. So don't take anything I say personal against you. It's not. You're my friend, okay? And a lot of you out there are my friend, whether you agree with me or don't agree with me. And so anyway, I have an educational message in this video. But if I get mean and nasty in my tone a little bit sometime later on, a little sarcastic or unpleasant, as I tend to do when I'm really pissed off, you know, don't take it personal, anybody at all, okay? So I want to ask you something. Do you trust the media? Because I'm going to show you a clip and see if you think you should trust the media. Do they do a good job with their fact-checking? Let's check something out and find out. Something having to do with that Korean airliner crash that happened just close by me here, about 100 miles away, a little less, 90 miles away, up in San Francisco, SFO. Of course, this incident was a real tragedy. Don't mean to make light of it, but if you trust your media, you know, the producers and the reporters and the newsreaders and the news, the ones who actually deliver the news, this is how good a job they do of checking out their sources, okay? This is
We have new information now
quite amazing.
Also on the plane crash. KTVU has just learned the names of the 4 pilots who were on board the flight. They are Captain Sum Ting Wong, Wee Tu Lo, Ho Lee Fook, and Bang Ding Ao.
Need I say more? They thought they were getting a big scoop with this, you know. This is how well they check out their sources and how no light bulb goes on in their brain when something doesn't add up, okay? Just like in the Zimmerman trial. They just repeat whatever nonsense somebody puts in front of them, and that's about it. Okay, so what you think about that? Good fact-checking, huh? Well, that's about the way they all do their fact-checking. They have no idea what they're talking about. They just parrot whatever they've been fed by their producer. And the producer just parrots whatever they've been fed by some writer who has an agenda. And they're all in it for the ratings. So, hear what I have to say to you angry Zimmerman, lynch mob, mayhem, rioting morons, okay? You, the people that making me pissed off. But more than that, it is the people that is feeding you the lines, the people dancing you on their strings, the people turning you into sheep, a band of roaming mayhem producing sheep. Those are the people that are really pissing me off, okay? Okay, and who are the people? You've been scammed. You've been fooled. You've been tricked. You're being used, okay? And who are these people? Okay, I'm going to start at the beginning. Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, Louis Farrakhan, MSNBC, especially MSNBC, by the way, just about every host on that show, that horrible, hate-mongering show that's trying to rip America apart instead of trying to help people get together, okay? You watch that show, your heart is going to be filled with hatred. Because those are horrible people on that show, and that's their whole job in life, is to fill your heart with hatred. All right, that's what they're doing. And all the other major media outlets, okay? They're after one thing, all you sheep out there who are Zimmerman haters, and this is what they're after. Benjamins. Well, how are they getting Benjamins off of you, you say? I'll tell you how. By the way, didn't Ben Franklin, like, invent lightning or something like that? I should know these things, I'm a scientist. But let me tell you a little story. This is a little story that the media heard somebody whisper in one side of one ear, which they never checked out, and then they ran with it, and they all started repeating it. And here's the little story I'm going to tell you. There was a guy back in March of 2012, George Zimmerman, and George Zimmerman got his nose broke by a sucker punch in the middle of the night in a dark area, not the middle of the night, but a dark area. Got slammed to his back and was having his head pounded into a sidewalk. And he pulled his piece and shot his attacker because he weren't going to get out from under him, since his attacker was much taller, stronger, faster, more muscular, and had a history of doing beatdown fighting and loving to do it. All right, he weren't going to get away any other way. Okay, so the media saw this story. Somebody in the media saw it, and they said, you know what? This looks like a really interesting story. I think that we'll make the guy that was doing the shooting into a white guy, and I think we'll make the guy that got shot, the black guy, since he were walking home in a hoodie and not doing anything wrong at the beginning of this story, we'll make him into a 12-year-old child carrying Skittles. So they decided to put up a picture of a guy that looks 45 years old in a mugshot, and a picture of a little kid who's 12 years old wearing a red t-shirt, and he were the guy carrying Skittles, okay? Look at what the bad, horrible old racist did. He went and just hauled off and shot a little black kid for no reason, okay? That's the story they told. Now, how did that story get repeated on? You know how you play that game from chair to chair and chair to chair? Well, it all got embellished over time. Pretty soon the neighborhood they lived in was a white neighborhood where they don't like black people. You know, at Twin Lakes, a place where they live, that's less than 50% white people live there, okay, just so you know. But that didn't matter to the Race Hucksters. They had themselves a story to run with. The media jumped on the story, but the person who really made it happen right off the bat was Al Sharpton. And Al Sharpton, media, race, huckster, all about the Benjamin guy, what he did was he started, he gets an ear from all these media outlets. He even has an ear at the White House. So he got the story rolling and they kept it rolling. Bad white guy, 12-year-old black child. Before you knew it, they had all kinds of other facts they had made up. And they kept that going for a year. Now, after the police let Zimmerman go, they decided to really make an issue of this story, of course. And that's when they kept it going for a year, okay, until they finally got the Justice Department and everybody else involved decided to do a false prosecution. All right, well, why did the media jump on this story? How do they make money off of something like this? Well, I'll tell you how. If you look at the patient, the guy laying on the operating table, and if that patient is race relations, white people, black people, Asian people, Hispanic people, and you say, you know what? We've been getting along pretty good for the last couple of decades. Guys like Louis Farrakhan and Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson, they're not making their money. They're losing power, and they're losing supporters, and they're losing profits, because they want a lot of money coming in from government hosts and from all their supporters. So what do? They want to do everything possible to foment a race war. And outlets like MSNBC, who are really into that kind of thing, how do they make their profits? Through controversy, through pissing people off, making people angry, That's how they generate ratings, and ratings bring in advertising dollars. Much more advertising dollars than no ratings do. All about the Benjamins, race hucksters. Those are the people who are using you, manipulating you, lying to you, pulling your chain, dancing you around like little marionettes on a string. Okay, do you want to be one of those guys being danced around on a string, or you want to have a mind of your own? All right, so let's just start with one terrible example, since you're going to say, what the heck are you talking about, Mikey Kung Pao? All right. How about a media whore? How about we start with that cheap, horrid fraud Nancy Grace on HLN? Another network, by the way, like MSNBC, who's in the business of getting ratings by making people hate each other. All right? That's their job, they think. She decided one day after the Zimmerman trial, actually from day one of the Zimmerman trial, what I meant to say, better have a glass of wine, I'm getting upset. I feel so much better now. Anyway, she decided she's going to try to, boost up her flagging ratings. She had lots of good ratings at the start of the Jodi Araya trial. And then when she became such a clown and a buffoon and a cartoon character, people started tuning her out. So they moved her out of the primetime spot. So she's been trying to get her ratings back by hate-mongering. And doing a pretty good job of hate-mongering. Don't know if it's helping her ratings. I hope not. Anyway, this is what Nancy Grace does. And by the way, she don't sell her body for money. She sells her soul for money. Okay, Nancy Grace. Much worse. And she don't care that thousands of people are going to suffer and get hurt. And businesses are going to be destroyed because of what she's doing. Don't matter to her. She's making more money. All right? Benjamins. Okay? So, what did Nancy Grace do? Let's look at one example. Let's take a look at a clip of something that she just did. And has been doing for the last few months, by the way. Here is the fraud Nancy Grace. Sensationalist. One of the people trying to destroy her country by setting everyone against each other in hatred. Here is where she repeats her favorite line that she said over and over, even though she knows this was never said on tape. Come on.
A difference when that 911 tape first came out, and everybody get ready, this is graphic language. When it first came out, that Zimmerman had said, fucking coon, on the 911 call. I mean, to me, that was open and shut. That showed ill will and hatred. Open and shut. I mean, there wasn't even a question. Now that they revised it and said, he's saying, these punks get away with it. They always get away with it.
Nobody revised anything, Nancy. It was never said in the first place, as you very well know. So, take your race huckstering, pandering, controversy building, ratings grabbing, whoredom that you're doing, selling of your soul someplace else. We ain't gonna watch you anymore. Okay, so what do you think about that? Do you know that Nancy Grace knows perfectly well that what she's feeding people is a lie? And she's doing it intentionally to put hatred in your heart instead of bringing people together? She's trying to put a knife in their hand. She is a horrible, terrible, awful person, and I'm not going to use the epithets I'd like to use to describe her, because I don't want to have my video banned, all right? But if you want to think that Nancy Grace has any credibility at all, in any way whatsoever, I want you to look at this next clip, which is rather humorous, actually. Take a peek. Let's take a peek at Nancy Grace busted doing a phony satellite interview.
Here's the problem. Because CNN put all their news eggs in the Jodi Arias basket, they were forced to cover other stories, including another good crime drama, the kidnappings in Cleveland, from their current locations. Ashley Banfield from a parking lot in Phoenix, reporting via satellite with Nancy Grace, who seemed to be in the same parking lot in Phoenix. I'm basing that, of course, on the fact that the cars that are passing by Ashley Banfield's location box also appear to be passing directly into Nancy Grace's box.
At the same time, of course. Busted Nancy.
That bus is in each shot at the same time. Therefore, ipso facto, those two
several hundred-mile-long
be
bus
in the pretty much same spot.
They were.
Or We just saw actual footage of Phoenix's elusive 7-mile-long bus nest monster.
Several 100-mile long.
The locals call him Old Bussy. But according to the Atlantic Wire,
Nancy.
Banfield and Grace were actually a mere 6 parking spaces away from each other.
And they knew it. Phonies. Frauds. Alright, so there you go. You see the credibility of Nancy Grace. And by the way, that's just one tiny little thing out of hundreds that she gets wrong. I've been watching her for a while. I tune her out now every time I can. I hardly watch her at all. But in the riot trial, I watched her for a while until it was obvious to me, because I was watching the actual court footage, that she got it wrong all the time, constantly misreporting. Okay, so either she's never in the courtroom, or her producers are terrible, or she's just a mindless reader, or she's just trying to manipulate you. I think it's the last, with a few of the others thrown in for good measure in the earlier stuff. Anyway, she gets everything wrong in the Zimmerman trial, too. All the facts that she reports are facts are grossly inaccurate or wrong. Like she said that 911 operator told George Zimmerman several times, over and over and several times, not to follow Trayvon Martin. But the reality is, if you listen to the 911 tapes and watch the court testimony, one 911 operator said one time, "Are you following him?" And George said, "Yes, I am." And that operator said, "We don't need you to do that." Okay? That's what was said. Okay. And you can check me for accuracy. Please, feel free. I'll be 1,000,000 times more accurate than Nancy Grace. Anyway. All right, we could cite dozens of other examples, not just of Nancy Grace, but the horrible people on MSNBC and all these other media people. What are they doing to help society, to heal, or to tell you the truth about anything? I can tell you what they're doing. Absolutely nothing. They are creating the problem, and they have created this problem. It's a false problem, and I'm going to demonstrate that to you later. We tried to a little bit already. There are much worse problems in the world. As Jill Terry said, we have a $17 trillion debt, and by the way, we have people murdering each other in the streets every day. They die by the thousands every year. And, if we brought murder charges against everybody that had done something that caused the death of something else, where they should have known better, like all the people who text when they're driving and then T-bone somebody and kill them, and you could say, they should have known that if they were texting they'd kill that person, they need to be convicted of murder and hung. Okay, how much sense would that make? But in that case, they're not even, the person's not even being attacked. All right, so in Zimmerman's case, it's totally different. Let's not get sidetracked back to the Zimmerman trial. Okay, there's great places you can go check all that out. But it isn't just the media doing this, of course. It's also the politicians. And I'm not going to go off on a political rant, because we're going to have to do that another time. And I don't want to get into politics right now, okay? But there's an awful lot of politicians trying to profit and gain supporters and money and financing and build their power base and get some of this by exploiting all of you, dancing you around on the strings, and fomenting hatred and destruction in the country instead of healing and people coming together for solutions. All right, so you keep this in mind when you think that you should have any respect for those folks. I sure don't. And by the way, speaking of that giant pack of lying frauds, let me ask you, who try to paint this as a racial issue, and George Zimmerman is some kind of racist. Let me ask you, have you heard on HON or MSNBC that George Zimmerman grew up with black kids in his home that he was friends with and he cared about? Did you hear that he was a mentor and mentored minorities, he and his wife, including black children, and got recognition for that? And did you hear from them that he took a black girl to his prom by any chance? Did you hear from them that George Zimmerman came to the defense of a black homeless guy that died in the custody of the Sanford Police Department, and he caused an expose and the police chief had to resign? And did you hear from them that he was investigated by Eric Holder in the Justice Department and the FBI, and they combed through everything he ever said, did, thought, combed through his poo-poos, interviewed over 40 people who have any peripheral connection to him, worked with him, know him, and not a single scrap, not a solitary iota of evidence this guy ever had a racial bone in his body? It makes it very clear. This is like the last guy on earth that would be randomly deciding to go shoot a black kid carrying Skittles because he's a racist. So if you're going to look into his heart, use some common sense. And let's take a look at Mark O'Meara. He had something very good to say to the media and the politicians who have caused this crisis. It wasn't caused by Zimmerman or Trayvon. It was caused by politicians and the media who were dancing you sheep on their street. You need to check out this clip from O'Meara, where he really lays the blame exactly where it belongs for why this has been blown up into an incident that sets race relations back 50 years. And so let's listen to him for a second.
So if you want to look for some insight from him, that was it. I'm sorry? Absolutely. 16 months of being, some people called him the most hated man in America for having defended his own life only after getting beat for 45 seconds.
With his head pounded into pavement.
A man who believes in the system, whose dad was a judge,
broken
who maybe wanted to be a cop or a prosecutor, then gets a system. Two systems went against George Zimmerman that he can't understand. You guys,
which we don't
the
either.
Media, he was like a patient in an operating table where mad scientists were committing experiments on him and he had no anesthesia. He didn't know why he was turned into this monster, but quite honestly, you guys had a lot to do with it. You just did, because you took a story that was fed to you and you ran with it, and you ran right over him.
Amen.
And that was horrid to him. Then he comes into a system that he trusts. Let's not forget, 6 voluntary statements, voluntary surrender. And he believes in a system that he really wanted to be part of, right? And then he gets prosecutors that charge him with a crime they could never, ever prove. It's not like they didn't lose evidence along the way, right?
They had no proof.
So I don't think anyone would argue with me in this room that they had evidence of second-degree murder. This in-your-heart kind of stuff, that's not what we're supposed to do, and it's not what they're supposed to do. So those two systems failed them.
Hey, where was the media, by the way? All you people who pretend to have all this concern about a young black child being gunned down, even though he was, a much taller, stronger guy than Zimmerman. But I want to ask you something, and I want to ask this to the media as well. Where are all these people caring about black kids getting shot when there are hundreds and thousands of them killed in our country in the inner cities by black gangsters? Is that not important to them? Are those black kids less valuable than Trayvon Martin? I'm just wondering. Let me give you a specific example, okay? Do you know that during the Zimmerman trial, which only went on for a few weeks, there were 6 kids that died in just the city of Chicago? 6 children who weren't doing anything to anyone. They weren't pounding anyone's head into the sidewalk. They weren't breaking anyone's nose. They were just innocent bystanders. There were 3 teenagers and a 5-year-old, okay? Killed by black gangsters shooting it up and creating mayhem. Okay, I was going to read the story link. I don't want this to be too long, though. You people who think I'm stereotyping, I want you to think about something. If you were in the 1950s in the South, in the racist southern states that weren't very enlightened before the civil rights movement, and you saw a bunch of white guys running around with sheets on their head with holes cut out and spook hats on, do you think it would be reasonable to profile those guys and think something about them? Because I do. I think it would be reasonable to say, well, there goes a bunch of brain-dead a-holes up to no good who are hating people because of their skin color and want to do horrible things and violate people's civil rights and human rights. Don't you think that would be a reasonable thing to think? I do. Okay? So I've been accused of being stereotyping. But I want to ask you something. If you think that white people or other races are stereotyping black people and saying, hey, these guys are up to no good, these young black males are always committing all this crime, and you're really pissed off about that, like a guy just walking in a hoodie carrying Skittles, why are they stereotyping? Why are they stereotyping? Why do they think these things? I think that some of you, the folks in your minority community, thought to themselves, I got an idea, right bulb, I got a great idea. We can stop this stereotyping thinking that these white people are doing, and here's how we'll do it. We'll go out and riot in the streets, and we'll do lots of harm and mayhem, and bust up a lot of businesses, and injure some people, kidnap a person here and there, and beat the holy crap out of them, and say we're doing it in the name of Trayvon. Then the white people will stop stereotyping us all the time, and thinking that we do stuff like that. Is that a brilliant idea? Is that worthy of the light bulb? I was just wondering, you know, because it reminded me of something. It reminded me of when Islamic supremacists say, if you accuse us of being terrorists and being violent, we're going to cut off your head and blow you up. Okay? That's what it reminded me of. Sorry, that's just me. Okay? Let's look at a clip for a minute. A couple of clips. I want to show you something.
Hundreds took to Crenshaw Boulevard to vent their anger over the George Zimmerman verdict, most causing no harm, but some groups damaged property and even attacked bystanders, including 2 individuals kicked and punched at a bus bench at Slauson. Later, groups headed south toward the Crenshaw Baldwin Hills Shopping Plaza, where more than a dozen, some pushing shopping carts, dashed inside the Walmart.
We saw people stealing stuff. The officers grabbed 2 of the suspects.
All right, you people that don't understand irony are going to say I'm doing this in a racist way, but I can assure you 100% I'm not. I'm trying to show what happens when mankind degenerates into mob violence mentality instead of using his head and thinking for himself. Here we go. Those are all the folks that are really not listening when they hear the facts about the Zimmerman case, and instead they're coming to their own conclusion, which is what the medium told them, that they should all have hatred in their heart and be angry, no matter what the facts are. All right, I only tiny scratched the surface there, all right? And you're going to say I'm stereotyping and being racial and all that crap, and I'm not at all. I told you in my other video how I think, and so I'm not being that. And the 2001 clip has nothing to do with, you know, evolution or anything like that. I was making that point because of the way people are behaving, okay? Like unevolved primates, you know, Cro-Magnon man or whatever. Anyway, I'm not going to go there. But it's not what you think, okay? And I think the point is obvious to anyone with 2 brain cells to rub together. All right, so you don't want to be stereotyped? You young black males who are out there committing all the mayhem? I'm not talking to all black people, of course. I told you that before in my other video. So don't accuse me of it, all right? But you young black males out there creating mayhem, and you white people that are out there with them, breaking things and hurting people and all the stuff that you're doing right now, let me tell you something. Okay, do you want to be respected? Here's what I want you to do. Go get a college education. Okay, is that foreign? Is that a foreign thought? Because a lot of preference programs that if you show some initiative, they'll put you right in. You'll go to the top of the line, head of the class, first in the line, okay? And there'll be money there for you, all right? Go get a college education. Go to Harvard or Cal Poly or someplace, or a state school, and, you know, or a university, any place. And then what I want you to do is I want you to get a hoodie that has a logo on the front that say Cal Poly or something, all right? And a few thousand of you do that, and people are going to go, people that want to stereotype are going to go, hey, look at that guy over there. He must be well college educated, have a great career. He must be a lawyer or, you know, a scientist or a doctor or something, okay? So how about that? Let's give that a shot, shall we? And see how that works out. I got a message to black people, and I got a message to all you horrible hate mongers at MSNBC, all right? Be a good citizen of your community, whether it's in the media or in your own hometown, all right? Be a good citizen of your own country. Stop thinking of your country as the enemy, and let's come together and be friends for a change, okay? That's how this works. Even though these hate mongers who are trying to make the Benjamins are trying to make you hate each other, all right? Stop doing that. Be a citizen of humanity. Be a citizen of God's family, you know? This is a message to all you sheep out there, you know? You can't think for yourselves. Okay, stop letting the media and the politicians manipulate you. You think you're going to get ahead by doing that? By yelling and screaming and rioting and creating mayhem? What's that going to do for you? Is that going to put food on your table or make your children respectable or give them a better life or your grandchildren? Stop listening to those hate mongers on MSNBC. Don't be a sock puppet being jerked around by their strings. You know, don't be a sheep, all right? That's what I'm having to tell you. Open your ears, open your mind, all right? Do I sound like I'm lecturing and preaching? It's because I'm really pissed off, sorry. Because I'm watching my country burn down around my ears and eyes when things were going okay, pretty much, other than the economy getting wrecked and, you know, a few other things like that. Oh, minor issues like that, you know. So, what else I got to tell you? We're almost done. Sorry. People should be, here I put out an olive leaf branch to you before. Here's one again, all right? Think about the fact that they're trying to exploit you and use you, and you're going to be the one that's harmed. You're going to be the one that's harmed the most. Don't be their stooge, all right? You want to know the real facts about Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman? I know you don't want to know the real facts, but if you just by some remote chance, by some 1 in a million chance that you do, I want to send you to a website that actually has excellent backstory data on both those guys. And you'll learn all the things that you really should know before you buy the media's lie, the media's shallow lie, the media who never did one lick of research on this case before they blew it into a national crisis. And that media site, I'm going to show you a clip so that you'll know where to go and what it is. You know, you really need to go check this guy out. This guy is brilliant. And if you want to know the backstory, the real story about George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin, real, actual, verified facts, instead of the media crap you're being fed, like sheep, then go listen to this guy, okay? And we'll give you his name and his rank and everything like that, so you know where to find him. And you know, you'll appreciate it and be glad you did if you're really looking to the actual facts instead of just looking to get worked up into a hysteria fit. All right, so you saw there a clip of this guy's site. His name's Stefan Molyneux. I'm not going to try, it's French. I'm not going to try to spell it out for you. But go to this title, and I have it linked on my, I have it linked on my site. The truth about, this is the title, The Truth About George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin. That's the name of the video. And he has another one about the verdict aftermath. Guy got almost a million hits. He got almost 600,000 hits already on his video because it's so well produced, so excellent, and has all the great information you need. So now you have the info. You have no more excuse to keep parroting those stupid lies I hear in every discussion group, every question and answer I see, every interview, every website, you know, everybody who's commenting in all their comments. So stop being a sheep. Stop, buying into these lies. Stop hating your neighbor. Start building your community and humanity, and stop bitching and moaning and make something out of your life, okay? Go to school. Stop breaking things. Stop hating on people. Okay, that's not going to help anybody and get you anywhere. Stop watching MSNBC and HLN and Rachel Madcow and Nancy Disgrace and all those horrid people who are trying to destroy and burn down your country. All right? That's not going to help anyone. Okay? Instead, like I told you to before we come together, and my last word of advice to everyone, of course, is, hey, by the way, quick Jodi Araya update. Sorry to get off on a nice, non-serious topic. Hearing today, they say, okay, we're going to maybe have the trial about the sentencing in September. We're going to shoot for September. So I'm thinking maybe by Christmas. So we'll be covering that in the future when it come up. That trial not nearly as serious as this one. The aftermath, of course, that one had a real clear evil person. Good and evil were very clear on them, but the Zimmerman trial have clear good and evil too, just not the players in the trial. The good and evil in this case, the truly evil, horrid, sociopathic people are the media and the politicians who are exploiting you. So, until next time, don't go with no sociopath.